Hi everyone, it's Lisa here, the artist behind Animal Art by Law. Today I just wanted to give a quick little hints and tips maybe. A lot of people ask me about sort of pricing. When I started out doing pet portraits, so I would say 6 years ago, I first gave up my full-time job, which was really well paid, so it was a bit of a leap of faith, mainly on behalf of my husband to support me for a few months whilst I got things going. But lots of you, when you're first starting out or thinking, you do some drawings of animals or humans, if you're doing human portraits, or even sort of landscapes and other subjects, you get friends and family who see your work and they're as surprised as you that you've got this gift, and you start practicing with that gift and honing your techniques, and people start asking you for commissions. And I know it really scared me the first time. I'm like, oh god, it was a friend's mum, I think, a friend asked me for a commission of a cat. I had a couple coming in for dogs as well, because I was working in dog rescue as well, volunteering, so lots of links of people there were also seeing my work. And people, like I say, just started asking for commissions, and it's like, oh my goodness me, people want to pay me for my work. Now, I used to run, when I first left college years ago, I graduated as a fashion and textile designer, and I went into costume, and then I went into bridal wear, and I used to create private commission work, I suppose, bespoke bridal wear. Now, it was always a struggle because clients expected that if they weren't going to like a private boutique on the high street or something, that they were coming to you behind the scenes, that you were going to do things cheaper. And it's like, in actual fact, it should have been the opposite way around. They're getting something completely bespoke by a skilled designer, and to be honest, I ended up working for pretty much peanuts, made myself very ill, and I lost any passion for creativity, so I stopped. So when I came back to creating 6 years ago now, and I set up the initial pet portrait business, and my first commissions were coming in, I made a vow then that even if it was friends and family, everyone had to pay. There was no such thing as mates rates, because a lot of people say, oh, and you get other people getting in touch out of the blue saying, oh, if you do me this commission of a horse, I've got so many friends in the industry, and I'll advertise for you and bring in so much work for you. You can do it on your own. You don't need to be giving away freebies. The best way of doing it, and even though I didn't like having to charge friends and family, I set myself a base rate. So if they wanted to commission me, what I would do is I would upgrade their work, so that way if they say booked me to do, sorry, I've got itchy nose, if they booked me to do, say, a small portrait, an 8x12, which is approximately an A4 portrait, if they booked me to do that, then what I would do is charge them the 8x12 inch size going rate for a commission, but I would maybe upgrade it. I would upgrade it to a 12x16, so they were getting a bigger portrait, or maybe add in a background or give them something extra within that portrait, but it meant that I wasn't losing out on my base rate that I needed to work with. Yes, I had to put in a few more hours on that commission, but it made it a little bit more special for them. They felt that they were getting something more, value. They felt like they were getting discount really, but you weren't really giving a discount. It's sort of a balanced approach. So please, first of all, don't give away your artwork for free. Now, it's your choice whether you do or not, of course, but it will reflect on you if you do it with friends and family. Being an artist, it's a struggle as it is to get your friends and family to take you seriously, especially if it's something that's sort of come out of the blue, that you're just starting up and they're like, oh, you're sitting and playing with pencils and you're going to be drawing cats and dogs and things, and okay, you can draw mine, you can practice with mine. It's like, yeah, that's great, I'll practice with yours to build up my portfolio. And when I started out as well, I didn't charge very much, but I made sure I charged enough to cover my time for a reasonable rate per hour. So my first couple of portraits were in graphite, and I think I charged a nominal price of I think it was £50 to £75 for an A4 size. And I only charged that for maybe 3 or 4, and what I worked it out to be was I needed a portfolio of work to be able to then put myself out there up against other commission artists and pitch in, you know, amongst those. But unless I had some work to show people, I couldn't advertise what I was doing, if I was okay or not, you know, sort of they needed to see what I could create before they go, oh yeah, I'll hire you to, you know, I'll book you to commission a portrait of my pets. So look at it at the beginning, that yes, you do the first few at a reduced rate, or an initial starting rate, not a reduced rate, an initial starting rate. You've got to have a starting point. Now, the other thing as well, people say they look at other artists around them in a geographical location. Yes and no. It depends. If you're only going to go out and do, let's say, local stalls and only advertise to local people and not use social media, that's fine. You want to be competing with those local to you geographically. Now, most of my clients, I'm based in the UK, in Gloucestershire, Forest of Dean. Now, most of my clients don't come from this area. Most of my clients are in America. But some in Canada, a couple in Australia. So I need to be pitching myself in amongst those other artists, creating in a similar style, using the same materials-ish, so colour pencil artists mainly. I do some pastel work, but I pitch myself in amongst a handful of those artists around the world. So think about that as well when you're setting up your pricing structure. Now, another thing to do as well, I set my pricing up for sizes. Now that size, say an 8x12 or A4, is the size of the portrait when it is mounted or matted and framed. I actually add an extra inch all the way around, so my 8x12 arrives with my client as a 10x14. I have to think about that. So they, you know, they get the extra border, and I make sure that my portraits, say it's a dog's portrait, head and shoulders, I make sure that head and shoulders fills that 8x12 space as best as possible, so that they're getting, you know, value for money. I see some artists charge per square inch, and I've actually gone to commission someone before, and they charge, is it per linear inch, or I'm not sure what it is they work it out at, because I was supposed to be a maths teacher, and that's, you know, what my training was initially. So yeah, I do quite well with my mathematics and my logic, but I remember looking at one artist who was amazing, her work, and I was going to pay whatever it was going to cost. And I looked at her pricing structure and I just couldn't understand it at all. It was like, it was for, you know, like the amount of, that the drawing was going to cover the paper, and it's okay, she's worked it out really well, and it does sound like it is beneficial to the client that they're paying for the amount that she's drawing. But it totally confused me, and I just thought, oh, do you know what, I'll just leave it. And that's like not good. So you want to make it as simple as possible. Stick to sort of, you think about the sizes that you're going to set up. So I did do a 6x8, I'm not sure if I do that one anymore, because now I'm so detailed in my work, I struggle to get it in those small sizes. So maybe if I get a client send me photos that aren't great, and there's not an option to get any more, then I might say, well, okay, I could do you a 6x8, but obviously it's not going to be quite as detailed as my larger pictures. My average size is a 12x16, which is approximately A3. That's 12x16 inches. And that'll adjust then to either, if it's a square layout, it'll go to 14x14 inches, then we'll go up to a 16x16. I'll go up to a 16x20 as well. And the other thing as well, you need to work out whether how you're gonna charge for the second or third subject within your portraits. And also, are you adding in a background? If so, if it's a soft tonal background, are you going to do it for free? Are you going to offer that as a basic? Are you going to charge for it, like a nominal set amount? Are you going to charge? If you look at my website, that's absolutely fine, www.animalartbylaw.co.uk. You can see my structure. I need to go through mine and update it a little bit anyway, because at the moment with my teaching, I'm now dropping down to maybe doing half a dozen commissions over the year. I've got no spaces now until 2019, and I'm seriously looking at how many do I actually take on next year, because I just don't have time anymore. So again, lots of things to take into consideration. I know I charge my fixed amount for my first subject within a portrait, and then a set amount depending on what size it's on. And that's the other thing as well, I will not put more than one subject on any size under 12 by 16 inch. I just can't get the detail in, and I don't want to be putting work out there that is less than the quality that I aim to achieve. When you're first starting out, you kind of say yes to everything that comes in the door. It then gets a little bit scary down the line when your order book, you're aiming for your order book to be full about 6 months in advance. That's a really good place to be. And I see some artists are booked in, you know, 2 years, they're fully booked for commission work. Okay, it's great because you know you've got that guaranteed income for 2 years, but what happens if you do get sick? You need to make sure you've got things in place to cover you. You need to make sure that you're well enough ahead on your portraits. You're not scrambling or falling behind deadlines. Some clients and that's the other thing, communicate with your clients. As long as they're kept in the loop. If you do have something come up, if you have a family emergency, what if you break your arm and you can't draw for 6 weeks? You need to have all these things in your mind and try and stay ahead with your portraits. Try and think of other hints and tips to throw at you now whilst we're talking about commissions. I'll do another one on about marketing as well, and also about your social media. I'll do another little video on those. But yeah, so when you're thinking about your pricing, take into consideration lots of things. Once you've got your initial portfolio done, so I'd say sort of 4 or 5, you know, nice mixtures of your dogs, do a few cats, a couple of horses. Obviously make sure that you've got permission for all those reference photos. Make sure you've got a clause in there as well to say that, you know, you as the artist retain the copyright, and that this is for the UK. I can confirm UK copyright laws, not so much overseas, but just make sure you've got little clauses in there as well to cover your copyright and use of images for marketing later on. And then once you've got your portfolio in place, look at other artists that you're going to be competing with in the field and pitch yourself in somewhere around those. Don't be greedy. I've seen other artists starting up last year and within 6 months they were pricing themselves higher than me. And again, as you win awards and things like that and you get your works more in demand, you can start to increase your prices. But just don't try to be too greedy too quickly. Make sure you're comfortable though, don't undercut yourself or undervalue yourself, because if you undervalue yourself, others will too. So I think that is it for my little pep talk to start you off with pricing. If you want facts and figures of, you know, how I incremented my increases, please do ask, and I can try and dig out that information for you. So I hope this helps a little bit, even if it just helps with a little bit of insecurity. So like, oh, I'm not quite sure how to start out, how did Lisa start out? Well, there you go, there's a brief, quick version of how I did start out with my portraits and my pricing and how I approached it. Okay, so I'll do another little video soon. Let's say I'll touch on the media marketing and lots of other things in some other short videos. So thank you very much, and hopefully see you all again soon. Bye bye.